So in this video I'm going to go over how to create a virtual machine in Microsoft Azure. So in the left hand menu I'm going to select virtual machines, and the bottom here I'm going to click new. You'll notice I already have 6 virtual machines. I'm going to create a 7th, so I'm going to click new here, and specifically I'm going to go through the from gallery and choose a bunch of choose my image that I'm going to base my virtual machine on. And I'm going to click Visual Studio. You could experiment with a bunch of others, considering you're charged by the hour, and it averages about 6 cents or 10 cents an hour when you have the instance running. So I'm going to click a Windows Server 2012 machine image here with Visual Studio Update 3. So once I choose my image, I'm going to be prompted for the name. And it's good to have a convention for your names. I'm going to have this as Web3. And I'm going to choose what I know to be just about 6 cents an hour. And here's where I create my administrative user and the password that I'm going to use. And I'm going to click next. So the cloud service is really kind of the HTTP. What I know it to be is like the HTTP URL. So if you want it to be redundant, you could actually reuse that URL, and supposedly I guess it's for load balancing or something like that. I'm not particularly sure, but in this case I am going to just click new cloud service, and the cloud service is going to be named the same as my virtual machine name. And here's where I want to create it. I'm going to create this one in East Asia, and the storage account is going to be automatically generated because I don't have a particular storage account in East Asia. Now the storage account, all of these VMs are stored on a storage service which is tied to a particular location in one of these places. The other option also is if you created a virtual network, which I show you in another video, you could actually put this VM in your own network, and the network itself resides on a location, one of these locations like East US, Central US, Japan. So you could also do that by putting a particular VM in your virtual network. And I would actually recommend that you create the virtual network first in a location and then actually create your VM within one of these virtual networks instead of choosing a location, because likely this is not a standalone server that you want. You want likely this to be a kind of like ecosystem, like a web farm, or kind of like a redundant server somewhere. So it's going to be a group of servers in a holistic system. So most likely you're going to be creating a network and putting a VM within this network. But in this case I'm just going to put it in East Asia. And again, I don't have a storage account for East Asia. Now for example, if I picked East US, I do have a storage account and I could pick that. And the storage account is just to manage a group of files or a group of images that you have. So once again, I'm going to choose East Asia, in which case I don't have a storage account. It's going to create one in East Asia for me. And the availability set is really for redundancy and fault tolerance. So in my firewall, I block all of the other ports, so I can't really log into a remote desktop session which uses port 3389 usually. So I'm just gonna assign it an open port I know I have, and this is gonna forward it to 3389. So if you're doing this within a company that actually blocks a lot of ports, you have to use a standard port like 80 or 443. But I'm not going to use 80 because I'm a developer and I'm going to actually develop websites using port 80. So for now I'm just going to use 443, and I'm going to allow HTTP also to be available on this VM. So I'm going to assign that now, and I'm almost done. I'm going to say install the VM agent, and that's really it. It's going to start creating the VM, and once that's done, you could click on this instance and click connect, and it'll bring up an RDP file that allows you to remote desktop into the VM with the user and password that you specified during the creation. So that's really it. That's how you create a VM, and thank you for watching.